Thank God they caught this fool that almost went into a Georgia airport and sprayed the place. Thank God his parents stood up. This is what we need. When your family member is going nutty and they're going to do something crazy, call the police.
Video shows Cagle parking his truck in the South Terminal drop-off zone and making his way into the terminal just minutes later, was hanging around there before police recognize and detain him. And investigators then found the AR-15 with 27 rounds of ammo in Cagle's truck outside.
They're not playing around. And I hope that this is a message to every airport in the United States of America that you need to take this stuff seriously. Like and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notifications anytime I go live or make a video. Make sure you're still subscribed to this channel. Let's get into this. Let's get right into this airport fiasco. So there was a man, and it's controversial, right? Some people thought that he wasn't there to do what they said he was gonna do, but the family confirmed that this man showed up to the airport in Atlanta. I think I said Florida. No, Atlanta. I'm right. He showed up to the airport in Atlanta, looked like he was scoping the place out to do a massive active shooting in the car. And let me tell you how I know this guy he meant business and he knew what he was doing with the AR-15. I'll let you know in here in a second, but let's pull up the clip that we have related to that from Fox News. And we're going to talk about this because we are seeing a rampant amount of violence from people who are deranged that somehow, some way want to show up at an airport and shoot it up. I'll tell you this, when I was in Florida, they got cops at the airport with AR-15s. They not playing around. And I hope that this is a message to every airport in the United States of America that you need to take this stuff seriously. Yes, they check you for weapons when you go through the security line to get on the plane. But when you're in baggage claim, or when you're entering the airport, there's nothing there. Roll the clip.
Yes. Put your hands behind your back, sir. Put your hands behind your back.
So police in Georgia say a tragedy averted after a family saw something and then said something to police. Authorities arresting a convicted felon at the Atlanta airport yesterday morning after his family called the cops to say he was allegedly on his way there to try and commit a mass shooting. Now, get this now. The family turned him in. Madison Scarpino live in Atlanta with how this all went down. Good morning there.
Good morning, Bill. Police say that the suspect was streaming on social media, making threats, saying he was on his way to go shoot up the Atlanta airport. And he was also armed with an assault rifle. Well, as you mentioned, the family then notified police, who were then on the lookout for this man. And thankfully, they grabbed him before anything could happen. So this is police detaining 49-year-old Billy Cagle, who they say is a convicted felon with mental health problems.
He's a felon with a semi-automatic weapon, and he's got mental challenges, and he's approaching the world's busiest and most efficient airport. When you have those combinations together, it can turn out to be deadly.
Police did not know that the suspect was already at the airport by the time the family alerted them of his threats. Video shows Cagle parking his truck in the South Terminal drop-off zone and making his way into the terminal just minutes later, fortunately, though, with his gun still in the truck. Now, police say he was particularly interested in the TSA security line and was hanging around there before police recognize and detain him. And investigators then found the AR-15 with 27 rounds of ammo in Cagle's truck outside.
I do believe that Mr. Cagle was headed back to his truck to retrieve it, and I do believe he was likely to use that weapon inside the crowded terminal that he had just seen.
Cagle is currently in the Clayton County Jail. A bond has not yet been set, but he's now facing multiple charges, including terroristic threats and possession of a firearm. Now, of course, there are still a lot of questions as to how this mentally ill felon got his hands on that powerful weapon, and that's all part of the investigation. But bottom line, police believe that they prevented a potential horrific event thanks to their quick work. Bill.
Indeed. The family made a tough decision, and they made the right decision, apparently. Madison, thanks, in Atlanta.
There's a lot going on here. This is why mental health checks and gun control and stuff will not help. What will help is if your mama them or mama them know their kid is a nut and they're crazy and they're going to shoot up stuff, you turn them in. That's what you do. Because he would have, for instance, he didn't go to a store to buy the AR-15 because he was a convicted felon. And he has never done an active shooter before. This was the first one he was about to do. And so there's no record of him doing that. He get the gun stolen or through the black market, and he go and shoot up a place. So if you ran a background check on him, it don't matter because he's not going to the store to buy a gun anyway. People need to be honest and turn these people in. Now, let me tell you why I know, and the most concerning thing to me is why I know this guy meant business and he knew what he was doing with the AR-15. So if you want to participate, get you one of these shirts or one of these merch items, and your purchase will go towards the Kirk family. A lot of people say, well, they already rich. I'm pretty sure Charlie Kirk was a multimillionaire. But one thing that you guys don't realize is that once you are done with your life and you can't bring in income anymore, that's detrimental to a person's family. Charlie Kirk had a show that was tremendously successful. It's a dog-eat-dog world. They're not finna keep his show going. They're gonna cut his show after probably another week or so, and they're gonna put somebody else in that spot. You're talking millions of dollars coming into his family that's no longer there. Unrealized gains. Charlie Kirk probably would have wrote 40 more books. Charlie Kirk should have lived another 50 years. And his children and his wife are not going to have that unrealized gain from Charlie Kirk's legacy moving forward. So this is a contributing option for us that love him, that really love him, and that care about his family. This is a way that you can do it. Go to tatumstore.com, tatumstore.com. Now, let me tell you why I know, and the most concerning thing to me is why I know this guy meant business and he knew what he was doing with the AR-15. And it bothers me when I hear people say assault rifle. There's no such thing as an assault rifle, right? A pistol is an assault pistol too, just so you know, because they do the same thing. It's an Armalite rifle if you think AR-15 means assault. No, it's Armalite, okay? So let's just get that right so your grandma and them quit saying crazy stuff to you. Outside of that, the reason that I know that he meant business because he had 27 rounds in the magazine. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? When you are in law enforcement or you handle AR-15s and you do stuff like that, you know that you cannot pack the magazine with 30 rounds, even though it has 30 round capacity. You got to take a couple rounds out because it's too stacked and it causes the AR to jam. So you take out 2 rounds, leave 2 rounds, enough where you can put your thumb down into it where your nail's showing. Y'all know what I'm talking about if you're a cop. Therefore, you don't have to worry about the gun jamming. The reason they found 27 rounds in the mag was probably because 1 was in the chamber. So he had 28 rounds in the mag, 1 was in the chamber. They found 27 in the mag after he chambered 1. A person like that understands how the rifle operates. Less likely that it would jam, and I think he would have went there and had a mass casualty situation. Now, I do believe at airports there are law enforcement officers, but I don't think that there's law enforcement officers prepared for somebody with an AR-15. Law enforcement officers do not have body armor that can stop a 5.56 and above. So they will be no match for a person that know what they're doing. And I hope to God that every airport in America will not take this lightly. I'm surprised that more incidents don't happen at the airport simply because there's nobody to stop them. In Florida, they had a guy with an AR-15 sitting there at baggage claim. So he would have been prepared to take out a guy like that. But most airports are not equipped to do that, especially in these left-leaning nut job states where they feel like nobody should have a gun. And listen, you're not supposed to have a gun at the airport. So nobody has a gun at the airport, which is not true. People are nutty. They're crazy. They're violent. They're evil. They're mentally ill. And my last thoughts on the whole gun violence thing. We should put people or report people that are crazy. If your family member is mentally ill and they're violent, you need to report them. And everybody's going to be mad at me for saying this. Red flag laws work. Now, let me put a caveat on it. I don't think that there should be federal red flag laws. There should be state level red flag laws in place. We had red flag laws in Tucson. As a police, as a conservative, as a Second Amendment person, they work. We had a guy who was in the military that was losing his mind. He was low crawling in his backyard because he thought he was in Afghanistan. You know what kind of crazy threat that is to the public? And all the regular people around him, they don't know what to do. People don't carry body armor. So if he got out the front door and started thinking he's in Afghanistan somewhere and start smoking everybody he see with tactical experience, he could kill a whole community of people before police show up. That's why when we detained him, he lost his rights to have a firearm until he was cleared mentally. And in other cases, we have had people who have been danger to themselves and others, and we go and we take their firearms temporarily. We have veterans calling in all the time with PTSD saying, I'm a danger to myself. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm seeing visions. I want to kill people. And we say, okay, let us take you to the CRC, the Crisis Response Center. And while we're there, we're gonna take your firearms. A lot of times it depends on the circumstance. We'll give it to a family member or we'll take it in our possession. We have to ensure that the person don't have access while they're still struggling with a mental illness. That is one of the ways that you can prevent these things from happening, because every single shooter that you name was mentally ill. Every one of them. You name them. The Uvalde, that kid was out of his mind. You go to Parkland, out of his mind. You go to the guy, now that was a little weird situation in Vegas, but if you shooting in a crowd of people, you out of your mind. And people know they're out of their mind. And if you got a family member that's out of their mind, we need to invest as a nation, state, county, municipalities in helping people get the mental health they deserve. Let me add this too. When I was in Tucson, we are an open carry state. You can open carry AR, you can open carry handguns. You don't even need a permit or nothing. You can open carry. Why don't we have as much gun violence as you see in Chicago? I'm going to say something that's going to make some people mad because we don't have that many black people. Let me add this, because black people, unfortunately, groups of black people and young YNs have gang violence that come along with their existence in the city. And I'm just keeping it real. It's not all black people, but there's an element of crime that don't exist in other places when you have black youth and you have black gangs. So that's one of the reasons why the shooting rate is not as high in Tucson in comparison to Chicago and some of these other crazy, outrageous places. But also, we have crisis response centers that people can go free of charge, and you can petition them. And if you have a family member that's losing their mind and you can prove that they're a danger to themselves and others, police officers can petition them and take them against their will to the facility where they can be locked in and get the help they need. Every state should adopt a principle like that, not on the federal level, because the federal government will begin to deem that you are January 6th and they take out your guns. But local police, municipalities, and states have a better, more equitable way of doing it, and I support it 100%. And if you're mad at me, I will debate you on red flag laws any day of the week. I'll show you every city where red flag laws are implemented and it works. And I'll show you where there's no red flag laws and people are losing their mind and killing people for no reason.